Hi, I'm Hayden Brown from Gold Coast Rainbow Communities. I'm here in partnership with the A-List to present a set of videos to help educate people both with and without disabilities on sexually diverse and gender diverse people. Today we'll be covering some common terms, what they mean, as well as doing some role plays by people with queer and diverse identities. Queer and questioning. A lot of us are both queer and autistic and might have some questions on what that means for yourself and your family. Today we'll be going over some of the basics about what that means for you and for other people with psychosocial disabilities and how it impacts them. The basics. Homosexuality and heterosexuality. These are the two most common terms you'll find. In our heterosexuality, we've often referred to as straight. This is what it means that someone is attracted to someone of the opposite gender, either romantically or sexually. This is a common norm within society, but increasingly people on the spectrum are finding that that is not the norm for them. The other most common term, homosexuality, and that means the same, to be attracted to someone of the same sex or gender identity as yourself. This is becoming more frequent in society now, and as levels of acceptance rise, we find more people identifying with this term. Some of you might be asking, what is the difference between sex, gender, and gender identity? Well, first one, sex, that usually means that what you've been assigned at birth. It's biological, male or female. It's a medical term, it covers the bodies, your sexual organs, and sometimes we refer as AFAB, assigned female at birth, or AMAB, assigned male at birth. What about gender? Gender is rules and performance. Gender is made up by society. It's ways for humans to be able to classify and behave. It's how you're supposed to act, what people expect of you. It can be comforting, it can also be oppressive. Commonly girls like pink and skirts and dolls, where boys like blue and trousers and trucks. It can be that girls are caring and going to be a nurse, or that boys are smart and going to be the doctor. Some choose to identify and perform in this, others choose that they don't feel it meets them. For some people who identify as not the gender they were born with at birth, they might be very comforted by meeting the expectations of the gender they'd like to be. Or for others, it might feel as entrapment, that they want to be free and make up their own rules. It's important that when we talk about gender that we are respectful. We have to remember that gender and gender labels are important to some people. Trans people in particular often find it comforting to perform and validating to meet those gender expectations. It's also important that we educate ourselves about gender, the gender norms, what other people's wishes and what they identify as. It's affirming, and by taking time to understand how people feel about their gender and how they'd like to be seen, that can actually save lives. What is gender identity? Well, gender identity is usually described as how people feel inside and how they choose to express that on the outside. It could be done in forms of clothing, your appearance, your voice, your behaviors. Some people feel more male or female. Some people choose to express their gender identities in the typically male ways, masculine, or typically female ways, feminine. Others don't feel that these labels apply to them at all. They might identify beyond these gender binaries. They could be both male and female or neither. Some of these people might feel that they are male one day and female the other. These usually fall under the umbrella terms of non-binary, genderqueer, or gender fluid. Cisgender. You might have heard that term before but don't know what it means. Well, simply put, cisgender just means that you identify as the sex of birth and the gender that matches it. So that you're born a male and identify as a man, or born a female and identify as a woman. We often refer to this term when we're talking about trans people who are born one sex and transition to another gender. We'll go into greater detail in our next video explaining what it means to be trans and all the information you need to know. When we think the word spectrum, we often think about ASD, but did you know that queerness is also on a spectrum? Sometimes we are both autistic and we also have queer identities and sexualities. They often occur together. If you're autistic, research shows you are twice as likely as someone who is not autistic to either be same-sex attracted or trans. And as I said before, ASD is a spectrum, but so is both gender and sexuality. People can be anywhere on the spectrum. That's why for those of us who are both queer and autistic, sometimes it's referred to as living under the double rainbow.